Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. For the last several years, the XRP community has been pushing for nothing more than a level playing field. When the SEC sued Ripple, it was very obvious that was the government picking winners and picking losers. It's regulation by enforcement. Now, finally, since we have a new president, a new administration, and Trump is in charge yet again, and he thankfully has done a 180, he is pro-crypto and pro-American cryptos, actually. More on that in a second. But since this has happened, it is resulting, and there's more that needs to happen, but it is resulting in a level playing field. Now, David Schwartz, who of course is Ripple's chief technology officer, and also the co-creator of XRP itself and the XRP ledger, he's highlighted that this level playing field, this is actually what Bitcoin maximalists have always feared most, and for good reason. Bitcoin, even if you're pro-Bitcoin, and I am, like, I'd prefer it just continue to exist. I own it, so I'm biased. But I hold 42 different cryptocurrencies. I'm not a maximalist. But Bitcoin, unquestionably, is the worst cryptocurrency that's ever been created. Other than, like, rugs and, the scam stuff. So throw that out. Technologically speaking, that's what I'm really getting at here. Bitcoin is the worst. And why? Because it was the first. That's not even me digging at Bitcoin. I'm just acknowledging reality. It's the first, and so it's the least sophisticated. And a lot of stuff has happened since 2009, and however long, it could have been years leading up to them created this, whoever, are a single person in theory, but a lot of people think it's a number of people that created Bitcoin. Either way, it's been around a while, fine, but look at how much time has passed. And there are so many coins that are better, including XRP, and this is a threat. So I'm going to share with you exactly what David Schwartz had to say, but he's not convinced. It's very clear he is not convinced that Bitcoin's going to stay number one in market cap. He is not convinced of that. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so I want to make sure everybody knows this. I've been mentioning this a fair bit in tons of videos, but I got to do it here for sure because we're talking about it. There's a push from Trump, from the very top of the administration on down, for there to be, sweet positioning, let's say, for those cryptocurrencies that are considered to be made in the USA. So that would include XRP. And here you can see even CoinMarketCap. They have a new metric here, and they're the largest crypto index on the entire damn planet, and they're the first. CoinMarketCap is high. They have a list here of the top made in USA coins by market cap. XRP is number one on this list. So whatever you think about it, good or bad, and I've said many times, like, look, if this is the metric we're going to go by, and coins are going to get preferential treatment, I've said, okay, I personally would like it, but that's because I'm biased and I have very heavy XRP bags, and I'm admitting that. So I'd like it for that reason. Is that fair? Is that the right way to go about this? Well, I'm being intellectually honest, and I've consistently said, no, I don't believe so. And if you think that it is something that makes logical sense, I'm willing to hear you out. If you have a very persuasive argument, I don't think it makes logical sense. And so if I were leading the free world here, would I do this? No. I think that an unbiased person would look at this and be like, no, but this is the route that it seems to be going. So it's good for me. It would be good for all of you if you're XRP holders, right? And so there was this post from Dom Kwok. He is a co-founder of EZA, which is a company that's partnered with Ripple, and they're doing all sorts of stuff, onboarding a ton of new XRP ledger developers, building various things. And so he highlighted that in the United States, U.S. cryptos would end up with, this is what we're hearing from Eric Trump, Donald Trump's son. He's saying that there's going to be a 0% capital gains tax on U.S. crypto. So that would include XRP. And if that gets applied, I would hope it would be in 2025, this bull run here would just be magical. Like the amount of additional wealth that we would get, and I'm thinking about what I would get compared to what I was expecting, would be wild. Because I'm expecting to lose 20%. And if I get that extra 20%, that will be buck wild to me. Because I don't think I'm going to change my sell targets. I mean, in theory, I could sell lower as a result, but I don't think I'm going to do that. And so it would be neat if it applied to the calendar year of 2025. But then there is also a report that non-US cryptos would get hit with a 30% capital gains tax. Now, I think still, if you have long-term capital gains, it would still be that 20%, but then it makes you wonder, Like, does Bitcoin, like, is that included? Like, where the hell was Bitcoin created? Are you just going to say it's an American thing? Or like, what happens? And so there's some question marks there still. But most cryptocurrencies not created in the United States. So most would not get this preferential treatment. Ryan Selkis shared that and said, horrible and mid idea. However, there are better ways to get the right result, and I am confident we will. David Schwartz responded to that and said, I don't like this idea either. While it would probably benefit me personally, I really do want to win on a level playing field. I only see this making sense as a response to other countries doing something similar to benefit projects that compete with US-based ones. Yeah, so, and also, if there's some sort of intent here to get more business activity in the United States, I still don't see how this metric makes sense. You should do other things to push for that, but just because a coin was created, what the hell does that matter when you're talking about the nature of decentralized systems? There's no American company that controls XRP and the XRP ledger. It's decentralized. It's global. So what sense does this metric make? And I don't see the argument for it. I haven't seen it articulated. If there's a good argument, let me know. But if the goal is just to get more business activity in the United States, they're going about it wrong. This is not the right way to do it. But again, like I said, I'd like it on a personal level because I'm biased and it would tremendously benefit me. So for that, yeah, sure. Absolutely. Why the hell not? Now, check out this post, though. This is fascinating. David Schwartz effectively acknowledging that there's a good chance Bitcoin will not always be number one in market cap. And so what would be if this happens? Well, XRP is number 3 in market cap. There's a reasonable chance it's going to take out Ethereum and become number 2 in market cap, at least for some period of time, which means if that happens, if things go right, XRP in theory could be number 1 in market cap. Now, I think there's no chance in hell that's happening this market cycle. Just my opinion. I'll be happy to eat those words if I'm wrong. I think there's like about a 0% chance. But big picture, look, I've always had this question, even when jumping into crypto in 2017. It's like, given that Bitcoin's technologically the worst and least sophisticated crypto that's ever been created, just because it was the first, if Bitcoin persists and is always number 1 by market cap, that is it is only because it was the first cryptocurrency ever created, and so it had that first mover advantage. That is it. There's nothing that Bitcoin can do that XRP can't, but there's a whole lot that Bitcoin cannot do that XRP can. So it would only be because it's first. Now, I do understand that when new technology comes out and it gets adopted, it can be very difficult to supplant technology. You need something that's ridiculously better, and even that's not necessarily enough sometimes. It can be very difficult, if not effectively impossible, to knock it out. And so if that's all that matters to people, and it's not, like, I don't think it makes sense. If everybody thought like me, then the answer would be no, Bitcoin would not be number 1 in market cap, but not everybody does think like me, and they value it for different reasons. Even if it's just because it's first, okay, I don't get to choose that. I'm just acknowledging reality, right? And so if that's how the people are going to behave, then I'll get in line with that. And I'll be like, okay, well, this is what the people care about, even if I think it's stupid. Okay, the people say it makes sense. It makes sense. And then if Bitcoin's number 1 forever, okay, fine. But so I've always recognized like there's that possibility, but I've never been 100% sure. I just haven't talked about it on the channel for a long time. I've never been 100% sure. And the more time passes, the more I'm like, okay, maybe. Because it's getting cemented further and further in the world of finance, like Bitcoin unquestionably is, right? But there's certainly the possibility that it could absolutely get flipped because, whatever cryptocurrencies are going to be towards the top in terms of market cap, it's going to be those cryptocurrencies that are functionally the most useful. Right? So whatever the biggest problem is, okay, so imagine that only one coin could do one thing. I'm just going through like a critical thinking process here. Imagine that for any one thing any problem that could be solved, there's only one coin that could do it. Now, I know that's not true. You can have multiple coins vying for the same position. There's multiple stable coins, for example. But just imagine it could only be one. There's a biggest problem that can be solved in crypto that the most money will be interested in flowing to. And whatever that is, if there were just one coin, that's the coin that would be number 1 in market cap. Does that sound like Bitcoin? Because all it does is store value. That's what it does. It needs layer 2 technology to do anything else, right? So is that the biggest problem that crypto is ever going to solve? If the answer is no, then it would get supplanted in a world where there's only one coin that can do the one thing, whatever that biggest thing is. Now, of course, I recognize you could have tons of different coins vying for that, which would make it even more difficult to supplant Bitcoin as that number 1 in market cap. But if people start to value whatever the use case is, if there's money flowing into other coins and the world decides that's more important, those coins also get the benefit of store of value. All of them will. It's not just Bitcoin that can be used as a store of value. People are using XRP as a store of value today. Hell, I've been doing that. Okay. And, and so, if that continues to happen, then you could absolutely envision a world where Bitcoin does get knocked out, and it could be by XRP. And I've considered this. It's very clear that the world is tremendously valuing XRP, the whole world on a global scale. Because look at how coins are ranked. XRP number 3 in market cap. It's been the top 10 coins by market cap its entire existence. That's the world, the entire world of speculators. It's the sum wisdom of everyone in the space that buys and sells saying, yes, we believe XRP makes sense. And so if eventually that first mover advantage, it ends up mattering less, then yeah, absolutely, I could imagine a world where XRP does move higher. The world has decided, and XRP's got an advantage, not literally the first mover, but it's one of the first. And so XRP has had a major advantage. Whereas you could copy XRP's code, launch that thing today, call it whatever you want to. You could call XRP Part 2 the amazing sequel. And nobody's going to use it and buy it. The fact that XRP was here among the first is a huge thing that matters. Because it's got something that you can't program, which is this entire ecosystem, this user base, all of these wallets, all of this actual adoption. You can't program that into something. It just is. And so because that's the case, yeah, absolutely. We are huge beneficiaries of this. Unquestionably, this is the case. Excuse me. And so when David Schwartz says what he says, which is on your screen, I'm going to read it to you now. Yeah, he's not crazy for saying the things he's saying here. And so XRP community member XRP Crypto Wolf wrote, why did Bitcoin maxis start attacking XRP out of nowhere? And David Schwartz responded to that, and he said, we started pushing for a level playing field where the government doesn't play favorites. That was always what the maxis most feared. Now, folks, he's right, and why would they fear that? Why would they fear a level playing field? Because they have the worst coin. They have the least technologically advanced coin that has ever been created. Period. That is it. That is what Bitcoin is. So in a level playing field, given that other coins can do other things and solve problems that Bitcoin can't, Bitcoin's going to have a hard time consistently winning. It's here in number 1 because it's the first. And if humans are going to keep behaving that way and deciding, yeah, we care, it's number 1, and it really is just because it's first. Okay. If that's what humans are going to do, and like I said earlier in the video, if it were a world of people that thought like me, Bitcoin would have ceased to be number 1 a long time ago. But people have different opinions and value different things and look at things differently. And so that's fine. I'll accept whatever the result of that is. But that's why I've never been 100% sure that Bitcoin will always be there. And then you got to kind of wonder, if it tumbles out of number 1, what's the point of having it at all? Because whatever the new thing is that's number 1, maybe it's XRP, it also has store of value. It's already doing everything else that Bitcoin's capable of doing. So what the hell is the point of Bitcoin at that juncture in time? It's hard to see it, right? So that's why Bitcoiners are freaking terrified. It could cease to be number 1 in market cap at some point in the future. And so a level playing field absolutely is what they fear. Unquestionably. It's what they fear most. Somebody responded to David Schwartz there and said, what happens to maxis if a level playing field comes to be? David Schwartz wrote the following, and this is just yesterday he was saying this. I think Bitcoin stays number 1 for a long time because the value of money doesn't come from its technology, but largely from network effects. But who knows? Yeah, so that's a good point. That's kind of similar conceptually to what I was saying is if something becomes a standard, and it's a technology and it's in place, it's hard to supplant it if there are network effects. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but it's hard to supplant. And so he thinks that, he said again, it could be a long time if that's going to happen. Now, somebody, Neatsbucks in the community, responded to that and said, what's a long time in crypto? And David Schwartz said, that's a good question. I tend to think 3 to 5 years, but sometimes things seem to take forever, and sometimes they seem to change overnight. Well, I'll tell you what, as far as the United States approach to crypto, that's changed quite literally overnight. From one administration to the next, yeah, completely changed. A180, 100%. So it's plausible that next cycle or the one after that, or who knows when, I'm not going to make a prediction, but it's plausible that you could have a coin, maybe even XRP, as number 1 in market cap if the world starts to think in a way that's similar to what I'm thinking. I do not know if that's going to happen. I've literally been wondering this since 2017, and anytime I've talked about this on my channel, I've acknowledged I don't know. And the more Bitcoin gets cemented, the more confident it would make sense to be that Bitcoin actually is going to stay number 1. But if we could start to see cracks in the armor. And that's why what's happening now Like when you see these toxic Bitcoin maximalists freaking out about XRP on social media in recent days, this is why. They have heavy Bitcoin bags. They're ideologically ridiculous in the crypto world. They're effectively in a cult the way they're behaving. It's completely ridiculous. These are people who are adults by age only, certainly not by behavior. And this terrifies them. Because you think about the executive order from Trump the other day, he didn't say anything about Ripple. He didn't say anything about XRP. And who got attacked? The entire XRP community and Ripple the company. That's who got attacked. Why? Because they're threatened. And they should feel threatened. XRP is gunning for that spot. And if it is possible to happen, then it's going to happen. We're just going to have to find out together. You guys tell me what you think in the comment section below. But David Schwartz, I really do think that he could be onto something here. Again, this is something that I've been wondering. And I've never thought it makes logical sense for Bitcoin to stay number one. But again, it's not about what I think. It's about what collectively investors the world over think. Are investors the world over at some point going to change their mind and think, oh, wow, well, those coins that do stuff, maybe it makes more sense to put it in that instead of Bitcoin. Somebody the other day hilariously called Bitcoin the pet rock of crypto. I thought that was pretty damn good. So we'll see, folks. It's not a crazy thought. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.